Hello everybody and welcome to Mr. Stansfield's educational videos. Today we're going to be talking about how to batch resize. And so what that means is we're going to resize a whole bunch of photos and it's going to take seconds. Instead of having to individually open up each photo, we can actually just set up an action, press a button, and it'll happen in the background. Photoshop will open up each photo, resize it, and then save it. So it's doing all the things that we want to do. It's probably a good idea, we're in Adobe Bridge here, to rename all of your photos first. So if you go to Tools, Batch, Rename, right under, we have to select our images first. So if we select all the images here, Command A is the shortcut key to do that. We could go to Tools, Batch, Rename, and rename them all. I'm not too worried about that right now because I want to get into this tutorial. So we're going to go to Tools, Photoshop, and then Image Processor. And we're going to do this after selecting all of the images. Now we can see I've got another image open in Photoshop here. So I'm actually going to cancel and close this. I'm not going to save it. And then we're going to go back to Bridge. Okay, so let's try it again. So we're going to go Tools, Photoshop, Image Processor. And there's a whole bunch of settings here. Once we hit the settings, we click OK. It's going to automatically do everything for us. So the first thing we're going to do is select the images to process. We've already selected all, so we can go ahead and process files from Bridge only. We just want to make sure this is unchecked. We don't want to open that first image. Here's the second thing we're going to look at, number 2, select location to save the processed images. I recommend saving in the same location, and then we're going to rename the folder that it saves it in to help keep us organized. We're going to go ahead and select the file type here. We want to save as a JPEG, don't save as a PSC, don't save as a TIFF. We're going to change the quality here to 7 or 8, not 78, 7 or 8. Let's go to 8. We don't have to convert, although if we did, it would be fine. So we're going to leave that unchecked for now. And then check this out. Here's where the resize happens. Resize to fit 1,000 pixels by 1,000 pixels. And after we enter that in, it will take horizontal photos and make them 1,000 pixels on the long side. It'll take vertical photos and make them 1,000 pixels on the long side. And it'll automatically resize them using that bicubic that we talked about. Okay, preferences. We want to leave this unchecked and we can include ICC profile. After that, we click Run. And now what's going to happen is it's going to open up each photo, resize it, and save it. And it's going to do this 50 times. So I'm going to stop the recording here. But the process might take a couple of minutes. And then after I pause the recording, so the processing now is done. And if I go into Bridge and I scroll down to the bottom here, you can see there's a folder called JPEG. And what I'm going to do is click on that, click on the word JPEG once, and then I'm going to just plug this in 1000 PX JPEGs. Okay, something like that. Just something so I know that these are the 1,000 pixel JPEGs, okay? It saves it as the same thing. If I double click on that, it's the same picture here, but if I go down into my metadata, I can see that it's 1,000 pixels on the long side down here. These images, oh wow, that's dirty. We need to clean that keyboard. These images here are resized, and it's great, except that if we open it up, double click it, it's going to open up in Photoshop, and we look at this image, get rid of that guy there, maybe zoom out a little bit, grab the crop tool, and we're like, this is the picture right here. Well, after I crop a picture that starts at 1,000 pixels long, and I go to image size, now it's 580 pixels long. So I could resize that by changing it to 1,000, click OK, but then I'm increasing the size, and you generally don't want to increase the size of an image too much. So in this case, if we're going to do any cropping, any adjusting, any adjustments at all to the image, we're going to start with the original file, and then we're going to resize manually for each of the pictures that we hand in. The batch resize, if I go back to Bridge here, this batch resize is useful if you're going to be handing in images that are unedited for whatever reason. If you're just going to hand in the image by itself, then these images are already sized correctly to 1,000 pixels. But if you're going to do any kind of editing, color adjustment, cropping, etc., you want to actually do it with the big file then resize it. So if you're doing maybe 4 or 5 or 6 adjustments, saving them, then you could actually do a batch resize. You could select those 5 or 6 images and do the same thing. So in other words, you can do this to edited files.